All right, we're going to welcome you back to the Principals Podcast. This is probably episode 50, but in season 2, this is episode 2.
Three.
Episode 3? Okay, episode 3. We have Mr. Armelli, who was an initial part of the podcast because we watched him on YouTube taking walks with his kids to be mindful, healthiness. And now in this school year, Mr. Armelli is in the building, but he's 100% online. And we need to take more time to talk about our Blue Model. And here's one of our Blue Model teachers. He is a Blue Model citizen. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Mr. Hyam here, Mr. Bandera, and our award winner, Mr. Armelli. So, Mr. Armelli, talk to us a little bit about your experience being in, what year is this for you? 44?
Year 42. 42. Yeah. Although I could go back, and I was just telling kids today on a class, I've been teaching in 6 different decades.
Wow.
You can figure that one. And then also, if you go back to the time like I went in school, I've been in school every year for the last 60 years.
Wow.
If I go back to my kindergarten days.
And how many times have you been a commencement speaker?
Twice. Yeah.
And you were our commencement speaker.
One of the most memorable honors, that I've had. It really, it means a lot to be able to do that.
Well, you are a rock star. We all know that. We have been blessed to watch you inside of Chardon for many years, kind of almost your second career here at Chardon High School, because your first career started back with Lake Catholic.
Down the road. Yeah, we don't have to. Just down the road.
Just down the road. Talk to us about are you currently in the health annex?
I am right now. I'm in the health annex. Yes, they're down at the end of the 200 hallways, out the door, up the ramp, and into the health annex. Yeah, we've had this for about, I bet you, 15, 18 years now. It's been here. Yeah.
How many times has it been remodeled in those 15, 18 years?
Once. It was the year when they had, before the 8th graders come up, we had a little bit of room in the main building, and I was put in the main building for 1 year, and while I was in there, they refurbished it for whoever else was out here. And then we brought the 8th graders, so I ended up coming back to this remodeled place. So it was kind of nice for that year. Whoever took this over for that 1 year, I really appreciate it because they got it remodeled and stuff. So very nice. New windows, new door. Yeah, they kind of, make it rain-proof and wind-proof. So it's nice.
So we're after school hours, and we can always hear the helicopters over our Google Meet. Can you all hear this?
Yeah, I hear it.
Yeah.
It's
how many times, since we're on California time and they're stealing all of our bandwidth, how many times has your class been like this year?
My class has not been like this at all. We've had issues where we've had delays, where, I'll speak and the kids are waiting like 20, 30 seconds to hear my voice and vice versa for me to get a response back. Some of the other issues we've had is, we have so many teachers utilizing the internet and their Chromebooks and Wi-Fi and things like that. At times there'll be so much, we'll get kicked out of the class, and then, within a few seconds we're back in. So we've had some issues, but for the most part, it's gone very well. The kids have been very receptive to it. For the most part, they've been on time. They've been on task. And I really appreciate, their efforts in making sure that they've taken ownership. And I think that's a big thing with the Blue Model, is the kids have to take more ownership of their learning. And that's a great, thing to learn, when They become more self-disciplined. They're learning how to budget their time a little bit. It's a little bit more on them as far as organizing their workload and things like that. Since they're not in school, I don't get the chance to see them when they're walking into school or when they're leaving school or in between classes in a hallway, and give them these reminders. Hey, don't forget we have a test. Don't forget we got a homework. Make sure you get that done. Hey, don't forget, you were out the other day, go in and check. And so these kids, these young men and young women are learning that self-discipline a little bit more on their own. It's going to take some time for more of them, but a lot of them have, taken it upon themselves. So they're doing a great job. Now, that being said, I would love to have all the kids here in school. I think there's a purpose for us having the blue model. All right. I think it's important given this current COVID situation and things. I think it's a great avenue for these kids to have, and options for their parents. It's great that, our administration and board put this together for them, so they can have that feeling of safety and security. But I do feel that, kids in school, there's other things that we could do better if they're in person. One, for instance, in a blue model, it's harder for me to build relationships with kids, because you don't see them other than that little square box with their face in it, during those 47 minutes. I don't get to walk into a lunchroom or to a study hall or after school and things like that. They are not seeing their peers. There's something with that human contact, that human interaction, that I think is important just for us as growth as human beings. And I'd like to have them to have that experience, to help them grow and, change. And, just from a teacher standpoint too, it's tough to learn the kids' learning styles. Every kid learns a little bit different. And when you only see that little face on the screen, it's hard to understand. Is he a more visual learner? Is he a more audio learner? Does he need more prompting and things like that? So, it's hard to pick up those cues as a teacher, when you see on the screen. It's a lot easier, to pick those up, in person. And my biggest fear is because I don't have that contact with those kids and I can't pick up those cues from each one, that I don't want kids to slip through a crack, and I miss something. And I think that's why in any type of blue format with the kids is you have to be more communicative with them, constantly emailing, don't forget, did you do this? Thanks for turning it in. You did a good job. I think that's a little bit more important. That's important with this blue model, to be able to make that contact with those kids.
Mr. Armelli, can you share with us what a typical class looks like for you? How it starts, what you do during the middle of it, and kind of how it finishes up each day.
Yeah, so it not much different than a class that's in person. We come in and obviously we take attendance. That's it takes a little bit longer, because if I have them in class, I just see that open seat and I know Johnny's there or Megan's there, where now I have to kind of go through the list. So that takes a little bit more, but it's just like, more or less what I've always done before. It's the kids come in, take attendance, and this is what we're going to learn today. All right. And in fact, I might even go back and say, this is what we learned yesterday. Any questions? Let's go through. This is what we're learning today. And then tell them what we're going to learn, and explain it and go through it, answer questions. And then at the end of class saying, this is what you just learned, and then this is what we're going to be doing tomorrow. And then again, you have to, it's constantly on our Google Classroom saying, we're going to meet in Google Meet today. And here's an assignment today. So again, it's that communication in a different way other than me talking. They a lot of kids visually, they want to read it or go in as a reminder at the end of class, to be able to do. What we're finding though is a number of our presenters, health. I mean, there's so many different presenters out there. We're talking about, nutrition and mental health and domestic violence and things like that. A lot of them aren't ready to present digitally. All right, so we're having a rough time, and we're trying to help them out so they can come in and present to the Blue Model kids like they would for the kids that are, live and in person.
Coach, you've always really taught more than just the standards in the classroom. You've taught life skills and some things that students need to have to be able to be successful when they leave us. Do you find that you're doing the same or even more so now in the Blue Model?
You try again. It's because it's a first time for me. Other than last spring, and that was kind of that was tough. But now it's a new type of teaching, so I'm learning every day. I mean, and that's the exciting part. Sometimes you get so far along in your career, and you just want to kind of ride out to the sunset and just kind of leave me alone and things like that. And it's almost, you get a sense of appreciation that we have administration and support that we're constantly changing, constantly trying to improve. So we went to the block model, and we had topper time, and now we're in the Blue Model. So it always seems like a challenge to me. So it always, hopefully, makes me better. Instead of, I don't want to become complacent, and you don't want the kids to do that too, because they pick that up on their teachers. If you're complacent and going through motions, they pick that up. So you always want to excite them. You want to keep them engaged. And the way you do that is if they see that you're excited about, teaching and doing something in a different way and just finding out. So we learn together. So as I'm going through this Blue Model, I'm learning, and I'm not afraid to share with them, like, hey, I made a mistake, and here's how I should have did it better. I mean, because it's all about learning, and learning is not necessarily getting things right, but it's you're going to make a mistake. And I hate the word. It's not fail, but I make a mistake, and you want to try and make it better. Make it better for the next time. So I've always felt that teaching and coaching, number one is it's about being a good role model and building relationships. I don't know how many kids I've taught in the last 42 years, and I don't know how many of those kids that will remember how many bones there are in the body. But I want them to remember how to treat people, how to act towards others, and just get good people. That we have a responsibility and obligation to each other, to teach each other, with kindness and respect. So, we're still doing the same, whether it's virtual or in person. I think those are big keys to teaching.
You are an extraordinary person.
And just so you know, I could have taught all you guys in class. Right.
Yeah.
In fact, I probably, like Bandera, I know he's probably the youngest. I probably could have had his parents in class.
Probably.
I have. So, again, going back, and I'm proud of the age I am, and I'm proud, I've survived all these years. I have kids that I have taught way back, again, 6 decades ago in the 70s. They're grandparents right now, but it's like, holy cow. Yeah. So, yeah, it's a great life. It's a great life.
Mr. Armelli, speaking of some of your great accomplishments, I know you're a great father, a great husband, a great son, but I heard there's a new addition to your family recently. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so, my wife is retired now, and so she's at home, and she was an educator for 35 years, and and the boys are grown, so she got a rescue dog. So his name is Scooby, and he's about 3 to 4 years old. We're not sure. And he's a little terrier mix, and he's just a lot of fun. So he sits around during the day, and then we come home, and he loves tennis balls and going outside. So yeah, he's a lot of fun. He's been very, very good, and it's kind of nice getting a rescue because he was already like house trained, and all that. So it's life is good. Yeah. It's good. Do you have a dog? Do you guys have dogs?
I have a dog. Mr. Bandera has a dog. Mr. Hyam, his kids want a dog.
We're gonna have a dog in the next 48 hours. So
really,
our youngest has always wanted a little one, and we're gonna make that happen the next 48 hours. Yes, we're excited.
I thought you were going to be funny and say, I'm going to have a hot dog tonight or something.
Maybe that too.
It's not on my diet that I'm on. No.
Oh, good.
Mr. Armelli,
Yes.
we absolutely appreciate you coming on our podcast today, but we want to also make note of one important thing, and you're going to be the first educator to hear this.
Okay.
About 10 days ago, communication came into my office, and I wrote back to the communication. And yesterday, with a lot of work in between, OASSA has determined that Ryan Bandera is the assistant principal of the year in the state of Ohio.
There we go. Oh, that's awesome. Congratulations, Mr. B.
Thank you. It was.
Is this the first you heard this news?
I found out yesterday afternoon, actually, about 2:30 in the afternoon. I got Mr. Murray and I got a phone call.
That is awesome. So how do we celebrate this? We got to celebrate it somehow.
Yeah, so I think there's going to be an official release from the district. I'm here either next day or so, and then we'll make it public. I don't love recognition, so I'm a little embarrassed by it, but I'm proud of it, and I thank you for the great mentorship from every teacher here. Honestly, I've learned so much from every teacher in this building. I've learned under Doug Hyam. I've known for probably about the last 12 years. So, getting to work under him as a teacher and then as a colleague of his, and then Doug Murray for giving me the shot. So to be an assistant principal. So I think everyone here, and when I got the phone call yesterday, I was expecting, okay, maybe they're telling me I'm the second place person or the in the top 10 maybe. I was caught off guard when they announced it. So thank you.
The entire state.
Yes.
Not just Northeast Ohio. The entire state. How many schools are there in the state of Ohio? There's got to be 800 of them.
There's like 5 of them. I don't know.
There's got to be 800, and so we have 2 assistant principals. So if every place has 2, and some have more, I would assume Menor has more, and Medina. So you got to figure there's 2,000 assistant principals out there.
There's a couple of them,
and you're the best, right?
Well, thank you.
That's awesome.
I'm still learning a lot every day. So thank you. I definitely appreciate that. Congratulations.
Wow, that is awesome. And we're going to have to celebrate somehow other than just a district notification or something. Man, we might have to fill that off. We might have to fill that office with balloons or do something. I don't know. Hide your car.
Don't give the students ideas.
Well, wait a second. I mean, the new thing is to replace his car with a new car. Maybe we need to gift him a new car. I mean, that happened this week in our building.
It did.
So, maybe we could do that. Mr. Armelli, are you willing to chip in $5? Because I can put in $5.
No, but what I'm going to offer, what year is your car, Mr. Bandera?
I actually have a new car. I got a new car last year, so not too bad. Yeah,
because I was going to say maybe for a month or two, if Murray's car was a little bit newer, you'd have to swap it out with you for a while.
He'd be throwing some miles on that.
Yeah, I'll definitely double the miles in probably about 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's awesome. You guys are a great team. I appreciate everything you guys have done for me. You make this a great place.
Yeah. Well, we're happy to have you, and you're doing such great things this year, and even as you're in your final couple of years here, final couple of months here, I mean, you're learning so many new things and trying so many new things.
Yeah.
And that I'm astonished every day. So thank you. I love talking to you in the mornings.
Yeah.
It's great.
Ryan, he signed a 5-year deal earlier this month, so he's not going anywhere. We got a 5-year deal with him with benefit. We got and there's he has an exit clause, but it's going to cost him a lot, so he might stay around.
Me and Lindor are a package.
So this comes back down to closure. last week we did a football closure, and I want to say that at one point, all of us had our take. Mine was special teams. Mr. Bandera wanted a running clock. Mr. Hyam expected some great things on both sides of the ball. But we don't have to go football this week. It's Mayfield. We're just going to dominate Mayfield because it's Mr. Bandera's cousin, Ross Bandera. But let's talk Indians, because they went from an 8-game slide to now on a positive slide, getting back into the playoffs. Mr. Hyam, predictions here.
Short term.
Sometimes doesn't have to be long term.
Sometimes the best team doesn't always win in baseball. It's the hottest team. And I really feel like this is an opportunity. We win tonight, sweep the Pirates. We could be the hot team at the right time. Coach Armelli and I were talking before we started. A 3-game series to start this, anything can happen. And, it's one of those statements, why not the Indians? Why not? It's been long enough. Something special. And I think it's going to be a fun October with the Tribe this year.
I think the drought's going to end here, hopefully this year. I think pitching carries you a long way, and Indians have some of the best. Their offense is starting to heat up too, which I am happy about. So hopefully this is a year to remember.
Yeah, I agree. I followed the Nationals a little bit last year, and they had that Para, who was just energized the whole, their whole organization. And I see Jose Ramirez doing the same thing right now, just energizing. People are just getting on board. The guys are there's a different vibe right now. And I think that enthusiasm, that momentum is going to carry through. And their pitching is just so solid. These 3-game series, I like them, to be in that World Series this year. Absolutely.
I also don't think Tito, no one wants to get sick, but I also think this is something special for Tito. The players are going to rally around the fact that, Tito is not with them. Sandy Alomar is a Clevelander. He loves Cleveland. It's just sometimes special things like this connect, and some teams can make things happen that someone doesn't expect. No one's really looking at the Indians as a team that can make some damage, but sometimes that's the best time to do it, is when no one's really counting on you and have the spotlight on you.
Absolutely.
I agree.
Coach Murray.
Baseball guy. That's you kind of, all of you are saying the right things. My linchpin is certainly Tito is phenomenal. I've always loved Alomar. I love Roberto Alomar too. I love that whole family. But they're really playing for him, playing kind of through, because he believes in his players. He's a player coach. There's a lot of hot tickets going on, and with some of those bats. Like yesterday, walk-off home run with a guy that you typically won't have a walk-off with.
Yeah.
So I agree. Like, I feel good about this team, and it's good to talk. It is a podcast, so it doesn't matter what the heck you talk about, except for whatever Mr. Armelli says, because it's golden.
Well, when everyone knows Coach Armelli's on, our listenership will skyrocket, because usually we got 2 or 3.
I was going to say, because I tell my family, and I got a big family, so everybody watches it.
I mean, we got 2 or 3 on our payroll, Coach Armelli, that we pay weekly to listen. So
that's good.
All right, well, Mr. Hyam, you and I have to go to tennis for senior night. The rest
I'm going home for a walk.
Go for a walk. Take the dog for a walk.
That's it. I'm going.
Mr. Bandera would like to actually see what it looks like outside, since he's been stuck inside all day and been on
assistant
meetings.
Principal of the year.
Yes, he is.
Yeah. Maybe I can get a window to my office next year.
Wow.
He's going big time. I'll make a prediction. Mr. Bandera is going to be a principal next year somewhere. I'm making that prediction right now.
Wow.
I'll double down on it. I totally agree. At the high school of his choice.
And that, and that would be an awesome thing. It would be our loss, a big loss for us. Well, but obviously it'd be great for the school that would, use him as their leader. He would be phenomenal.
Yeah, Mr. Armelli, true story.
Yes. Okay.
Mr. Fetchick didn't want him. This guy did.
I do remember that whole situation. That is right.
I'm like, Andy,
Yeah.
we need Ryan because he's a genius with special ed. And
Yeah.
he's like, we're replacing Trimble. We probably should replace, we need someone with a little bit more experience. I'm like, we need special ed experience. So it all shook out, and we brought in both All-Stars. It was like we got the first and second draft pick, and it's been outstanding ever since. So
It's worth it.
the worst part of his day is the hour commute.
Not always that bad.
And I bet you it's the hour commute going home because you anticipate seeing the little one at home and your wife, so that drives a little bit longer.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this closes out our podcast. We appreciate everyone being on. Mr. Armelli, rock star as always. Mr. Bandera, OASA Assistant of the Year. Mr. Hyam, always rocking inside of that office. I love your look back there. You can see a little of the American flag. It's a good look.
It's a great look. I got a window. Look, I got a window.
He does.
This is what happens, Bandera, when you win awards. You get a window.
Yes.
So if for those in proximity, Mr. Hyam, point to your core value sign. Point to the core value sign behind you. Because that is exactly where Mr. Bandera is located. That's how close they are.
Just on the other side.
Yep.
All right, everyone. You have a great evening and a good weekend. See you.
All right. Thank
Take
you.
care,
Go
Toppers.
Toppers.